Hello and welcome back to a new lecture on phonetics. In our previous lecture we discussed the sonority scale and we've seen some examples. Now let's take one example that we've discussed before that shows an exception for English. If you recall, one word we discussed was the word extra. Let's see how this works. This one is a peak, that's 7. So is this one, that's 7. K here is a stop, it's 1. S is a fricative, that's 3. T is a stop, that's 1. R is an approximant, that is 5. Now it's pretty clear that we only have 2 syllables here. Why? Because we only have 2 nuclei. That's one nucleus and this is the other one. So why does it look like we have 3 peaks? Something's wrong. The way we would normally do this is we go down from this peak, and as long as we're going down, we're fine. From this peak as well, we're going down, we're fine. But then what do we do with this one? If we give this to this syllable, then we have a problem. Because in this case, our syllable would be going down from the peak and then back up. And this is not allowed. If we give it to the first syllable, then again, we're going down from the peak, but then back up, and this is not allowed. So what do we do in this case? Well, English allows for the S sound, and only the S sound, to violate the sonority sequencing principle. That means this sound is a special case. It's an exception only, the only exception in English for the sonority sequencing principle. Therefore, since it's an exception and since we are going from right to left, then we are going to do this and go back up, and we're going to accept it because it's an exception. Therefore, we have 2 syllables. Extra. Extra. Let's go ahead and draw the syllables. Again, we start from right to left. This is a nucleus. So is this. A rhyme. Syllable. Onset. So is this. Rhyme. Syllable. And there's no onset here, but we'll draw it anyway. And now we just give all the onsets, starting from the rightmost syllable. All of the onsets that we can give without violating any of the phonotactics of English. So far, this sequence is allowed based on the sonority sequencing principle, just like we've seen. And this usually is not allowed, but we've seen that this is a special case for English. Now on this side, we have another syllable. We give this coda, like so. And this one here has no coda. And that is our syllabification of the word extra. 2 syllables, as you can see. We can also say that there are 2 syllables by placing a dot right here. This dot suggests where the syllable boundary is. So here's an interesting question. What do the languages that do not allow S to be an exception, what do they do in this case? Well, what they do, take Arabic for example, is they insert a schwa, or a vowel, before the violating consonant. So they kind of give it its own syllable, so that the sonority sequencing principle is not violated. So for example, in Arabic, this would be, instead of extra, it would be ekistra. Let's see how this helps. Now that we have a vowel here, that means we have a peak. We also have a peak here and a peak here. We have our R, which is an approximant, which is 5. T is a stop. S is a fricative, it is 3. K is a stop. Now we should have a better looking system. Starting from this peak, we're going only down. Starting from this peak, we're going only down and down. And from this peak, we're not going left or right. Here are the syllable boundaries. And as you can see now, within every syllable, our sonority sequencing hierarchy or structure is perfect. For this syllable, like we said, looking left from the peak, we're only going downwards, and that's what we're looking for. For this one, on both sides, we are only going downwards. We don't go down and back up again, and that's what we're looking for. Likewise here, we have nothing to look for, either to the left or to the right, and that's good as well. Okay, so now we've taken a look at the sonority scale, but this isn't really a complete picture of how the sonority scale is broken down. In the next lecture, we're going to look at some more detail of the sonority scale. See you there.